Hi, I'm Andres from Boutique Japan Travel Company, and you're watching our second ever weekly video Q&A where we answer your most pressing questions about Japan travel. This week's question comes from Dominic Park from London. Dominic asks, which are the best new off-the-beaten-path places in Tokyo? Eateries, music, and fashion that aren't Roppongi, Omotesando, or Shibuya? That's a great question, Dominic. Everyone always wants to know this, and even though it's always changing, the places I want to tell you about today are Shimokitazawa, Naka-Meguro, and Ebisu. None of these neighborhoods are new exactly, but the reason I wanted to mention them is because most travelers to Tokyo end up missing them. The first one I wanted to talk about is Shimokitazawa. Shimokitazawa is probably the most alternative neighborhood of the ones I want to talk about today. This neighborhood's full of hipsters, rockers, hippies, punks, and really all sorts of people who don't usually fit into the Japanese mainstream. This area is great for bars, restaurants, vintage shops, and also lots of small music venues. Overall, it's a great neighborhood, and even though it's popular, most tourists end up missing it. The second neighborhood I wanted to talk about is Naka-Meguro, which is probably my favorite neighborhood in Tokyo. Even though it's not exactly obscure, most tourists to Tokyo definitely end up missing it. For me, the best part about Naka-Meguro is the canal, which is lined with cherry blossom trees. Even though they're only in bloom for a couple of weeks a year, the canal is always a great neighborhood for a stroll, a run, or a bike ride. It's lined with little shops, some cafes, and if you walk in the back streets, you'll find some really cool places. For some high fashion, you might also want to venture to the neighborhood next to Naka-Meguro, which is called Daikanyama. Daikanyama is full of really high-end boutiques, some really cool shops, and probably Tokyo's most stylish people. The last neighborhood I want to talk about is Ebisu. Ebisu is probably the least hidden of the three, but for some reason most tourists still miss it. It's actually just one stop from Shibuya on the Yamanote line, which is Tokyo's loop line. The great thing about Ebisu is that it's a stylish area, but the real highlight are the food and drink. It's full of restaurants and bars, and it's perfect for a night out with friends, especially if you want to go to an izakaya. Well, Dominic, I hope that answers your question and gives you some great ideas for your trip to Tokyo. To everyone else out there, if you have any ideas for Dominic, please share them in the comments. For more information, visit us at boutiquejapan.com and check back soon for next week's video Q&A.